Cuzco, Peru, 2019. A 6-year-old boy wakes up screaming in the dead of night. His parents, Maria and Carlos Haman, rush to his bedroom. They find him trembling, tears streaming down his face, but the words that come out of his mouth freeze them where they stand.
"Mommy, I want to go home. I want to go back to my other family."
Maria wraps her arms around him, confused.
"You are home, my love."
The boy shakes his head desperately.
"No, my other home, where my wife Cori lives, and my children Tupac and Suma. I miss them so much."
Carlos and Maria exchange a look of pure bewilderment. Their 6-year-old son is talking about a wife, about children. The names sound ancient, like echoes from a forgotten era. For weeks after that night, Mateo doesn't stop talking about his other life. He describes impossible details about what Machu Picchu looked like 500 years ago when it was still under construction. He speaks of sun ceremonies that never appeared in any of his school books. He explains construction techniques that only specialized experts would know. But the most disturbing thing? The maps he draws. Maps showing tunnels and secret chambers beneath the ruins. Places no one has ever discovered. When they ask him how he knows all this, he responds with a seriousness that sends chills down their spines. "Because I built them. I was the head architect of Machu Picchu, and I left something very important hidden there." Maria seeks help. First, a child psychologist who rules out any mental disorders. Then, a local historian who sits speechless as he listens to the boy's descriptions. "These details are only known to experts in Incan architecture," the historian says, his voice barely above a whisper. "Some of them aren't even publicly documented." Carlos makes a decision. If his son keeps insisting he wants to go home, then they'll take him. They'll bring him to Machu Picchu and see what happens when he faces the ruins he claims to have built half a millennium ago. None of them are prepared for what comes next, because when Mateo arrives at those ancient stones, he won't just recognize the place. He will guide professional archaeologists to discoveries that will change history forever. And he will reveal a secret that has waited 500 years to see the light of day. That was only the beginning. The truck winds its way toward Aguascalientes. Mateo is pressed against the window, his eyes wide and unblinking. He doesn't look like a child excited for a family trip. He looks like someone returning home after an endless exile. "Almost there," he whispers, even though he's never been here before. Maria squeezes Carlos's hand. They're both nervous. They've spent their savings on this trip, hoping it's just childhood fantasy. But something deep in their hearts tells them this is different. When they arrive, Mateo refuses to sleep. He paces back and forth, drawing constantly. Stones, terraces, temples. His hand moves with unsettling precision, as if copying something only he can see. The next morning, they board the bus to the ruins. Tourists swarm everywhere, but Mateo doesn't glance at any of them. He walks straight toward the entrance with determined steps. "Where are you going?" Carlos asks. "To the watchman's house, where I used to work." Carlos feels ice crawl up his spine. Mateo hasn't seen any maps. He hasn't researched anything, and yet he's heading directly toward one of the site's most significant structures. When they reach the main viewpoint, Mateo stops. His eyes fill with tears. Not tears of sadness, tears of recognition, of impossible nostalgia. "This is where Cori and I used to watch the sunrises." Without warning, Mateo starts running. He darts through narrow pathways, dodging tourists, descending stairs with terrifying familiarity. His parents chase after him, shouting his name, but he doesn't stop. He reaches a lateral section of the ruins, far from the tourist routes. He kneels in front of a stone wall that looks completely ordinary and begins running his small hands across it. "It's here. I left it here." A security guard approaches. "Excuse me, this area is restricted." But Mateo presses a specific stone. There's a click. The stone sinks inward and a small section of the wall shifts. The guard freezes. Maria screams. Carlos can't believe his eyes. There's an opening, small but real. Mateo reaches inside with complete confidence and pulls out an object wrapped in ancient fabric. He unwraps it slowly. It's a gold pendant with turquoise stones. Engraved on it are two names in ancient Quechua, Cori and Amaru. "This was my wedding gift to her," Mateo whispers. "I hid it before I died." The guard grabs his radio with trembling hands. "I need archaeologists, now. A child just found something that shouldn't exist." And that was only the beginning. 2 hours later, the sector is cordoned off. 3 archaeologists from Peru's Ministry of Culture have arrived by helicopter. Among them is Dr. Elena Vargas, a renowned specialist in Incan civilization. She examines the pendant with white gloves and a magnifying glass. Her face is pale. Her hands are shaking. "This is authentic, pure Incan gold. 15th century smelting technique. The turquoise stones are from mines that only the highest nobility had access to." She turns toward Mateo. "How did you know where this was?" Mateo looks at her with a seriousness no child should possess. "Because I put it there. The day before the Spanish arrived in Cuzco, I knew I would never come back." Elena exchanges nervous glances with her colleagues. "I was sick," the boy continues, "coughing blood. I was 32 when I died." Absolute silence. Carlos pulls Maria close. Tears stream down her face. Dr. Ramirez, the skeptic of the team, steps forward with his arms crossed. "If you really are who you say you are, then answer me this. How many agricultural terraces are in the southern sector?" Mateo doesn't hesitate. 40 main terraces, but there are 12 more hidden beneath the vegetation on the lower level. They were designed for sacred crops that only the Inca himself could consume. Ramirez goes pale. Those hidden terraces were discovered just last year using laser scanning technology. There's no way a 6-year-old could know about them. The information hasn't even been officially published. "There's more," Mateo continues. "Beneath the Temple of the Sun, there's a chamber you've never found. That's where we kept the important quipus, the ones that recorded the true history of the empire." Elena feels her heart racing. "Can you take us there?" "You'll have to dig. The entrance was sealed during an earthquake. I was there when it happened." For the next 3 hours, Mateo guides the team through Machu Picchu as if he had lived there his entire life. He points to specific stones. He describes the functions of buildings that historians had only theorized about. He corrects mistaken interpretations that are taught in universities around the world. When they reach the Temple of the Sun, Mateo kneels at a specific spot. "Here, 3 meters down, diagonal northwest, you'll find the chamber." Ramirez takes measurements with ground-penetrating radar. His eyes grow wide. There's a cavity exactly where he said, the size of a small room. Maria covers her mouth with both hands. This can't be happening. But Elena is already making urgent phone calls. "This requires a full team, special permits. If there really is a sealed chamber down there, this could be one of the most important discoveries of the century." And that wasn't all Mateo remembered. While they coordinate the excavation at the Temple of the Sun, Mateo walks to the edge of a terrace. He gazes toward the mountains, his expression melancholy. "What do you see, son?" Carlos asks, approaching him. "I see my home, the place where I was happy, where I loved, where I watched my children grow, where I built something that would last forever." A tear rolls down his cheek. But I also see that Cori isn't here anymore. The world I knew vanished so long ago. Carlos hugs his son, not knowing what to say. How do you comfort someone who is mourning a family that died 500 years ago? Elena approaches with her phone in hand. The excavation has been authorized. We begin tomorrow at dawn. Mateo, is there anything else we should know? The boy wipes his tears and nods. Yes, there's something more important than the quipus. Something I left specifically for when I returned. What is it? Mateo looks her directly in the eyes. A letter, written in ancient Quechua, addressed to myself, to Amaru, for when my soul returned to finish what I left incomplete. A collective shiver runs through the group. And in that letter, I wrote exactly where to find Cori, where they buried her when she died 2 years after me. Elena feels her knees weaken. Are you saying you know where there's an undiscovered Incan tomb? Not just one. I know where all 3 of them are buried. Cori, Tupac, and Suma. Together, waiting for me. Mateo points toward a hill covered in dense vegetation, east of the main ruins. There, exactly 120 steps from the sacred stone, beneath the oldest Quechua tree. Dr. Ramirez, who had remained skeptical until now, pulls out his notebook with trembling hands. 120 steps. In which exact direction? Northeast. And when you dig, you'll find 3 bodies. Cori in the center, with a silver necklace shaped like a crescent moon over her chest. Tupac to her right, 19 years old. Suma to her left, only 11. Elena writes frantically. This goes beyond anything she has ever experienced in her career. If what you're saying is true, Mateo, you're going to change the history of Peruvian archaeology forever. The boy smiles sadly. I don't want to change history. I just want to see my family one last time. To say goodbye the way I never could. And with those words, the archaeological team knows they are about to witness something extraordinary. Something science alone will never be able to explain. Dawn paints the mountains surrounding Machu Picchu in shades of orange and gold. The archaeological team is already in position. Cameras document every second. Official permits have been secured. The Peruvian government is supervising everything. This is historic. Mateo hasn't slept all night. He sits at the entrance of the tent, drawing the same face over and over again. A young woman with Andean features, long braided hair, a gentle smile, and deeply sorrowful eyes. Is that her? Maria asks, sitting down beside him. That's Cori. This is how she looked when we got married. She was 17. I was 20. It was an arranged marriage, but we fell in love for real. Maria feels a lump form in her throat. Hearing her 6-year-old son talk about his teenage wife from 5 centuries ago is both surreal and deeply moving. Elena approaches with a thermos of coffee. Mateo, we're going to start at the Temple of the Sun. Do you want to be there? The boy shakes his head. First, I want to go where Cori is. I need to see her first. I need to say goodbye. Elena hesitates. Protocol dictates they should verify the chamber beneath the temple first, but something in Mateo's eyes makes her change her mind. This child has waited 500 years. All right, we'll go with you. Mateo, his parents, Elena, and 2 other archaeologists walk eastward. Mateo counts the steps out loud with mathematical precision impossible for someone his age. 117, 118, 119, 120. He stops exactly in front of an ancient Quechua tree, its branches twisted by centuries of wind. The ground beneath it is covered in dense vegetation. Here, 3 meters down, the entrance is sealed with flat stones, and over her chest, Cori wears a silver necklace shaped like a moon. The team begins working with extreme care. They remove vegetation, mark the perimeter, install excavation grids. Everything is documented, photographed, recorded. 2 hours pass, then 3. The sun climbs high in the sky when one of the archaeologists shouts, "I've got something!" Everyone gathers around. At 1.5 meters deep, flat stones appear, deliberately placed. This isn't a natural formation. This is human construction. Elena personally supervises the removal of the stones. Her heart pounds against her ribs. If Mateo is right, they're about to uncover an intact Incan tomb. Something extraordinarily rare. Most were looted centuries ago. When they remove the final stone, everyone holds their breath. And what they see changes everything. There is a funeral chamber, small but perfectly preserved, and inside, exactly as Mateo described, are 3 bodies, naturally mummified by the dry Andean climate. An adult woman in the center, a teenager to her right, a young girl to her left, and over the woman's chest, gleaming faintly under the beam of the flashlights, is a silver necklace shaped like a crescent moon. The silence is absolute. No one dares to breathe. Elena turns toward Mateo, who stands at the edge of the excavation with tears streaming down his cheeks. "Is it her?" the archaeologist asks, her voice breaking. Mateo nods, unable to speak. He presses a hand to his chest, as if a physical pain is tearing through him. Maria embraces him, but the boy gently pulls away and takes a step forward. "Can I get closer?" Elena knows she should say no. This is an archaeological site. There are protocols. But something in her heart tells her to allow this moment. "Yes, but be very careful." Mateo climbs down into the excavation with the help of one of the archaeologists. He kneels beside Cori's remains. His small hand trembles as he extends it, not touching the body, just hovering in the air above it. "I'm sorry," he whispers in ancient Quechua, a language he never learned, yet it flows from his lips with perfect fluency. "I'm sorry I left you alone. I'm sorry I didn't get to see our children grow up. I'm sorry for all the lost time." Then something inexplicable happens. A gentle breeze begins to blow, even though they're inside a protected excavation. There's no air current. There shouldn't be any wind. And yet, the leaves of the Quechua tree above them sway softly, as if someone invisible is caressing them. And Mateo, his eyes closed, smiles for the first time since arriving at Machu Picchu. "She heard me. She heard me." Dr. Ramirez, the team's skeptic, feels goosebumps rise across his skin. He's been on hundreds of excavations. He's seen everything, but he's never felt anything like this. Elena takes photographs with trembling hands. This goes beyond archaeology. This is something science cannot easily explain. When they lift Mateo back to the surface, the boy seems calmer, as if an invisible weight has been lifted from his shoulders. "Now we can go to the temple chamber," he says, his voice serene. Now I can read the letter I left for myself. Elena nods, unable to look away from the newly discovered tomb. Because if everything Mateo has said so far is true, what else will that letter reveal? What other secrets are waiting? The excavation beneath the Temple of the Sun begins that same afternoon. The team works with millimetric precision. Every layer of earth is removed, sifted, analyzed, documented. Mateo watches from above, sitting cross-legged, waiting patiently. At 4 in the afternoon, the shovels strike something solid. Not natural rock, carved stone. "We've got something," Elena announces over the radio. Mateo stands immediately. "That's the entrance. But be careful with the center stone. It's balanced. If you move it wrong, you could seal the chamber forever." The archaeologists exchange nervous glances. They follow the boy's instructions to the letter. With levers and ropes, they remove the side stones first. Then, with extreme care, the center stone. An opening is revealed. Dark, just large enough for a person to pass through while crouching. Elena shines a high-powered flashlight inside. Her eyes widen at what she sees. My God! There's a complete chamber, walls of perfectly fitted stone. And in the center, on a granite platform, objects are carefully arranged. Rolled quipus, ceramic vessels, and a flat stone covered in inscriptions. "That's the letter," Mateo says from above. "It's written on the stone. I sealed it with tree resin so it would last." Elena descends into the chamber with documentation equipment. Her flashlight reveals inscriptions in ancient Quechua, perfectly preserved. She begins reading aloud, translating as she goes. "Amaru, head architect of the sacred city, leave this message for when my spirit returns. If you are reading this, it is because you have come back. It is because the bond with Cori was stronger than death itself." A shiver runs through everyone present. Elena continues. "I have left maps of the secret chambers. There are 5 in total. Only I know them. In them, I stored the true knowledge of our people, before the invaders from the north arrive and destroy everything." Mateo closes his eyes, as if remembering every word before Elena reads them. "If you have found Cori, you will know that I kept my promise. I buried her beside our children, in the place where we promised each other eternal love, beneath the quinua tree, where I carved our names when we were young." Maria feels tears streaming down her face. Carlos holds her, completely overwhelmed. "But there is something more," Elena continues, her voice trembling. "Something I left specifically for you, for us. In the 5th chamber, the deepest one, lies the secret that no one must know. The secret of why Machu Picchu was truly built." Elena looks up at Mateo. "What's in that 5th chamber?" The boy opens his eyes slowly, and what he says leaves everyone paralyzed. "The portal. The place where souls can cross between worlds." Sepulchral silence. No one moves. No one breathes. Mateo's words hang in the air like an impossible revelation. "A portal," Elena repeats from inside the chamber, her voice barely a whisper. Mateo nods with gravity. "Machu Picchu wasn't just built as a city. It was built over an energy point, a place where the veil between worlds is thin. The ancient priests knew this. That's why the Inca ordered it to be constructed here." Dr. Ramirez climbs out of the excavation, his face pale. This is too much. We're talking about archaeology here, not mysticism." "Mysticism?" Mateo stares at him. "Then explain to me how a 6-year-old boy knows where to find 500-year-old tombs. Explain how I speak ancient Quechua without ever learning it. Explain how I remembered the exact spot where I hid a pendant half a millennium ago." Ramirez has no answer. None of them do. Elena climbs out of the chamber with photographs and measurements. The stone mentions specific coordinates for all 5 chambers. We've already found the first one. This one. Mateo, can you lead us to the other 4? I can lead you to 4 of them, the boy replies. But the 5th only I can open, and only at the right moment. What moment? Carlos asks, concern etched across his face. When the solstice sun touches the Intihuatana stone at exactly noon. Only then does the portal activate. Only then can I enter. Maria grabs her husband's arm. Enter? What do you mean, enter? Mateo turns toward his mother, his eyes filled with an ancient sorrow. Mom, I love you. You're my mother in this life. But Cori was my wife. Tupac and Suma were my children, and I left them alone. I abandoned them without saying goodbye. Tears roll down Maria's face. No, Mateo, you can't leave. You're my son. I need you here. The boy embraces her. I'm not going to disappear, but I need to close this cycle. I need to cross over, even if just for a moment, to tell them what I never could. Elena steps in, her voice firm. The winter solstice is in 3 weeks. Until then, we can explore the other 4 chambers, document everything, and when the moment comes, we'll see what happens. Over the following days, Mateo guides the team through Machu Picchu like a ghost from the past. He points to precise locations. Every excavation reveals exactly what he described. Quipus, tools, ceremonial offerings, astronomical maps carved into stone. The international archaeological community is in shock. Media outlets begin arriving, but the Peruvian government keeps everything under strict control. This is too big, too important, and far too inexplicable. As the solstice approaches, one question torments everyone. What will happen when Mateo enters that 5th chamber? Will he return?
3 weeks later, June 21st. Winter solstice in the southern hemisphere. Machu Picchu has been closed to the public for the first time in decades. Only the archaeological team, Peruvian government officials, and Mateo's family are present. Cameras document everything. The boy stands before the Intihuatana, the sacred stone where the Incas tied the sun. He wears traditional Incan clothing. It wasn't anyone's idea. Mateo asked for it specifically. I have to dress like Amaru. I have to be who I was for the portal to recognize me. The sun rises slowly over the mountains. Golden light bathes the ancient ruins. Maria hasn't stopped crying all morning. Carlos holds her, trying to be strong. Son, you don't have to do this, Carlos says, his voice breaking. Mateo turns toward them. For a moment, he's just a scared 6-year-old boy. But then something shifts in his eyes, an ancient determination, a mission that has waited 500 years to be fulfilled. Yes, I do, Dad. It's the only way for Amaru to rest, the only way for me to fully become Mateo. Elena checks her watch. 5 minutes until exact noon. Mateo walks toward a section of the Temple of the Sun that appears completely solid. He places his hand on the stone and closes his eyes. He begins to chant in ancient Quechua, a melody no one has heard in centuries. And then it happens. When the first rays of the midday sun touch the Intihuatana, something changes in the air. A vibration, almost imperceptible. A low-frequency hum that everyone feels in their bones. The stone beneath Mateo's hand begins to glow. Not a reflection of sunlight, its own light, golden, pulsing. My God, Elena whispers, recording everything with trembling hands. The wall section slides aside, revealing a descending staircase.
stone steps that disappear into darkness. From within emanates a faint light, as if something in the depths is illuminated by an unknown source. Mateo takes a step toward the entrance. He pauses and turns toward his parents.
I love you. Never forget that. I am your son. I will always be your son. But I am also Amaru, and Amaru needs to go home.
Maria runs to him, embracing him desperately.
Promise me you'll come back. Promise me.
Mateo hugs her tightly.
I promise, Mom. I'll come back. I just need a few hours. I need to say goodbye to them, to tell them I love them, that I never forgot them.
He pulls away from the embrace. He looks at his father, at Elena, at everyone present. And then, with steady steps, he begins descending the staircase. The golden light envelops him. His figure grows smaller, more distant, until he disappears completely into the depths of Machu Picchu. The stone closes behind him with a final, definitive sound. Maria falls to her knees, sobbing. The clock reads 12:03 p.m. Now, all they can do is wait. 2 hours pass, then 3, then 4. The stone remains closed. There's no way to open it from the outside. Elena and her team have tried everything. Nothing works. It's as if the entrance never existed. Maria sits on the ground, hugging her knees, staring at the stone wall. Carlos paces back and forth, desperate. The sun begins its descent toward the horizon.
He said he would come back,
Maria repeats over and over.
He promised me.
Elena sits beside her.
The Incas believed time works differently in the spirit world. A few hours here could be days there, or minutes. We don't know.
Suddenly, at 5 in the afternoon, the vibration returns. That low-frequency hum that makes the air tremble. Everyone stands immediately. The stone begins to glow again. Slowly, it slides aside. From the depths emerges a small figure, Mateo, walking slowly as if each step costs him tremendous effort. But he's smiling, a smile of absolute peace. Maria runs to him and wraps him in her arms.
Mateo, my boy.
The child hugs her tightly, but there's something different about him, a serenity, a completeness that wasn't there before.
Mom, I'm okay. I saw them. I talked to them.
Carlos kneels in front of his son, taking his face in his hands.
What happened down there?
Mateo smiles through tears.
The portal took me to the exact moment before Amaru died. I got to say goodbye to Cori. I held her one last time. I told her I loved her, that I would always love her. I saw Tupac and Suma. I told them I was sorry I wasn't there to watch them grow up.
His voice breaks.
And they forgave me. They told me they were proud of the legacy I left behind, that Machu Picchu still stands because of my work, that it was enough.
Elena approaches cautiously.
Mateo, what's really in that chamber?
The boy looks at her.
Records, advanced astronomical knowledge, star maps, mathematical calculations centuries ahead of their time. The Incas knew far more than history gives them credit for. And now you can prove it.
He points toward the entrance, which remains open.
Everything is documented in stone. You can go in. You can study it. I've completed my mission.
Over the following weeks, the archaeological team explores the fifth chamber. What they find is revolutionary. Knowledge that forces a rewriting of Incan civilization's history. Discoveries that Elena will publish in the most prestigious scientific journals in the world. But for Maria and Carlos, the most important thing is that their son has returned. Mateo is still the same 6-year-old boy. He plays, he laughs, he goes to school, but he no longer has nightmares. He no longer cries for his other family, because Amaru has finally found peace. And Mateo can finally just be Mateo. 6 months later, at an international press conference, Elena Vargas presents the official findings. She shows photographs, documents, irrefutable proof that a 6-year-old boy guided professional archaeologists to impossible discoveries. They ask her how she explains it scientifically. Elena smiles and responds, "There are things in this world that science still cannot explain, but that doesn't make them any less real. Mateo taught us that love can transcend time, that souls can return to close unfinished chapters, and that sometimes the most incredible story is the true one." In Cuzco, Mateo draws in his notebook, but he no longer draws Cori. He draws his current family, his parents, his new life. On the last page of his notebook, there's a note written in childish handwriting. "Thank you, Amaru, for letting me be me. You took good care of our story. Now rest. I'll live for both of us." And in the ruins of Machu Picchu, when the wind blows through the ancient stones, the guards swear they occasionally hear a male voice singing in ancient Quechua, and a female voice answering him with love. Cori and Amaru, together forever, in the place where they loved each other 500 years ago.